Grammar Lesson 2.2, Forming Questions in Spanish. There are 4 ways that we can ask questions in Spanish. Number 1, raise the pitch of your voice at the end of a declarative sentence. Number 2, invert the order of the subject and the verb. Number 3, add tags like no or verdad to the end of a statement. Or the 4th option is to use an interrogative. Before we continue, something really important that you'll need to remember is that whenever you're writing a question in Spanish, you always need to use the upside down question mark at the beginning of the question and then a regular question mark at the end. You're going to find out here in just a moment why, but make sure you remember to always do that. If you are typing and you need to do the upside down question mark on a Mac computer, you'll need to hold down the Option key and the Shift key at the same time on your keyboard and then push the question mark. If you're using a PC computer, there's an Alt code, so you would hold down the Alt key and then type 0191. If you are unable to type the upside down question mark using those codes, then if you're in Google Docs or in Microsoft Word, go to the Insert menu and then you can choose Special Characters, or depending on what version you have, you might have to choose Special Symbols. And then you can usually find anything there that you need, like upside down question marks. You can find the accented vowels. So that works as a last resort, but it's not quite as quick and easy as using your keyboard and the Option or the Alt codes. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about method 1 for asking questions. This is where we raise the pitch of our voice at the end of a declarative sentence. This method is the main reason why the upside down question mark is important. If you look at the first example, ustedes trabajan los sábados, you work on Saturdays, you'll notice the question over to the right is in the exact same order, except for this is a question, not a statement. So we have the upside down question mark, which tells us that we're going to read this one a little bit different, and then we're going to raise the pitch of our voice toward the end. So it would sound like this. Ustedes trabajan los sábados? Okay, so kind of like in English, we change the pitch of our voice a little bit when we ask questions. You'll do the same in Spanish. Another example, the statement, Carlota is looking for a map, we would say, Carlota busca un mapa. If we wanted to ask a question, is Carlota looking for a map? Then we would say, Carlota busca un mapa. Okay, so hopefully you can hear the difference in my voice from the statement to the question, and you would need to get into the habit of doing that as well. Okay, the next method we have is you can invert the order of the subject and the verb. So basically you're just going to swap your subject and your verb. If the verb has an entire phrase with it, then you can change that. You can put your subject at the end of the entire phrase. So the first example here, if I want to just make the statement, you work on Saturdays, I can say, ustedes trabajan los sábados, just like we did in the last example. To turn that into a question using method 2, I now am going to swap my subject and my verb. ¿Trabajan ustedes los sábados? Okay. And then with the second example, Charlotte returns at 6. If I want to keep the whole phrase, regresa a las 6, together, I can do that. And then I would just put Carlota at the end of the sentence. So to say, does Charlotte return at 6, I can say, regresa a las 6, Carlota. The third method that you can use to make a question in Spanish is to use different tags or kind of key phrases like no or verdad at the end of a statement. So again, we're using the same 2 statements. This time, we're again leaving the words in the same order as they are for the statement. We're just adding something to the end. So to say, you work on Saturdays, don't you? Then you would say, ustedes trabajan los sábados, ¿no? Or to reaffirm that Charlotte returns at 6, you can say, Carlota regresa a las 6, ¿verdad? The last method for forming questions is to use an interrogative, and you are used to doing this. We did it a little bit in Unit 1, and we've already done it a little bit with Unit 2 as well. So these are the interrogative words or question words that we often use. You should have these already on your vocab list for Unit 2, and we'll be practicing them with some of your AR verbs that you learned, as well as the vocabulary for this unit. So if you don't have any of these, you might, or if you don't know them or don't have your vocab list handy, you might go ahead and jot them down. Otherwise, just take out that vocab list and you should be good to go.